It was a Tuesday morning, just another ordinary day at Oxford High School. Students were excited about Thanksgiving break. Teachers were planning their lessons. Parents were dropping their kids off, expecting to pick them up at 3 p.m. But at 12:51 p.m., everything changed forever. In just 5 minutes, a 15-year-old student killed 4 classmates and injured 7 others. Tate Meir, 16. Hannah Street Juliana, 14. Madison Baldwin, 17. Justin Schilling, 17. But Oxford wasn't the first, and tragically, it wasn't the last. Since the year 2000, there have been over 400 school shootings in America. That's more than the rest of the world combined. Today I'm going to tell you a story, not just about one shooting, but about a crisis that only exists in America. A crisis we seem powerless to stop. This is the story of why our children go to school afraid, and why, after decades of tragedy, nothing has changed. Let me take you back to that Tuesday morning at Oxford High School. Ethan Crumbley was a 15-year-old sophomore. To most people, he seemed like a quiet kid, maybe a little withdrawn, but nothing alarming. But what nobody knew was that in his backpack, he was carrying a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun, a gun his father had bought him as an early Christmas present, just 4 days earlier. That morning, a teacher found disturbing drawings on Ethan's desk. A gun pointing at the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." A drawing of a person bleeding with the words, "Blood everywhere." The school called his parents immediately. They came in for a meeting at 10 a.m. The counselor showed them the drawings. They saw the cry for help. And then they left. They went back to work. Ethan went back to class. 2 hours and 51 minutes later, he walked into the bathroom, loaded his gun, and emerged into the hallway. What happened next took less than 5 minutes, but it destroyed dozens of lives forever. He fired over 30 rounds. Students barricaded doors with desks. Teachers shielded children with their own bodies. Kids texted their parents, "I love you," thinking they'd never see them again. When it was over, 4 teenagers were dead, 7 were wounded, and 1,700 students would carry this trauma for the rest of their lives. But here's the thing that haunts me about Oxford. This wasn't unforeseeable. This wasn't unstoppable. This was preventable. Let's talk about what we missed, or rather, what we chose to ignore. In the months before the shooting, Ethan posted disturbing content online. Photos of the gun, videos at shooting ranges, searches about school shootings, even a countdown to the attack. His journal was filled with plans. He wrote, "I have access to the gun and ammo. I am fully committed to this now." His mother texted him after the school meeting, "LOL, I'm not mad. You have to learn not to get caught." Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Let's get you help." Just, "Don't get caught." And Ethan isn't unique. When we study school shooters, we find the same pattern over and over again. 80% showed warning signs before the attack. 75% told someone about their plans. Over half were severely depressed or suicidal. Most had been bullied or felt isolated. Nearly all had easy access to firearms. After Columbine in 1999, we said, never again. We promised we'd watch for the signs. After Sandy Hook in 2012, when 20 first graders were murdered, we said, this time it's different. This time we'll act. After Parkland in 2018, students themselves marched on Washington. They begged adults to protect them. And after Uvalde in 2022, when police stood outside for 77 minutes while children died, we said the same thing again. Never again. But it keeps happening. Why? I want to answer the question that keeps me up at night. The question that parents, teachers, and students all ask. Why can't we stop this? The answer isn't simple, but it comes down to three core failures.
America has more guns than people. Over 400 million firearms in civilian hands. That's 120 guns for every 100 Americans. No other country comes close, and no other country has our problem. In 2023 alone, over 80 school shootings occurred in the United States. You know how many happened in the UK? 0. Germany? 0. Japan? 0. Australia? 0. We have 57 times more school shootings than every other major developed nation combined. And here's the kicker. In most school shootings, the gun came from home, from a parent, from a relative, from an unlocked safe or a nightstand drawer. Ethan's father bought him the gun 4 days before the shooting. His mother took him to the shooting range to practice. They knew he was struggling. They saw the warning signs, and they gave him a gun anyway. Let's be honest. American teenagers are struggling. 1 in 5 teens has a mental health condition. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 24. Depression rates have doubled since 2010. But our schools are overwhelmed. The recommended ratio is 1 counselor for every 250 students. The reality? In some schools, it's 1 counselor for 800 students. When Ethan drew those disturbing images, the counselor saw them. The school flagged them. His parents were called in, but no one had the authority or the resources to keep him out of school that day. No one could force his parents to get him help. No one could search his backpack. And even if they wanted to get him help, the average wait time to see a therapist in America is 48 days. Insurance often won't cover it. Families can't afford it, so kids fall through the cracks. And by the time someone notices, it's too late. After every shooting, the same cycle repeats. Thoughts and prayers, moments of silence, promises to act, debates on TV, and then nothing. Democrats propose gun control. Republicans say it's a mental health issue. Both sides dig in. Lobbyists spend millions, and Congress passes nothing. Meanwhile, the gun lobby spends over $15 million a year to block legislation. Politicians fear losing their seats, and children keep dying. After Parkland, student survivors organized the March for Our Lives. Over 2 million people protested. It was one of the largest youth-led demonstrations in American history. Congress raised the minimum age to buy a rifle from 18 to 21 in 3 states. That's it. We all agree something needs to be done, but we can't agree on what, so we do nothing.
But here's the thing. We know what works. We've seen it work in other countries. We've even seen it work in some parts of America. We just refuse to do it nationwide. In 1996, Australia experienced a mass shooting that killed 35 people. Within 2 weeks, the government banned semi-automatic weapons and bought back 650,000 guns. Since then, 0 mass shootings. Not one. The UK did the same after the Dunblane school shooting in 1996. Japan has some of the strictest gun laws in the world. Result? Japan had 10 gun deaths in the entire country last year. America? Over 48,000. Now, I'm not saying America should ban all guns. Our culture is different. Our constitution is different. But we can learn from what works. Universal background checks are supported by 90% of Americans. They stop criminals and domestic abusers from buying guns and already work in 21 states. Red flag laws temporarily remove guns from people in crisis, allowing family or police to petition a court, and have prevented dozens of planned attacks. Safe storage requirements mean locking up guns at home. 4.6 million children live in homes with unsecured guns. Simple locks could prevent most school shootings. Raising the age for assault rifles to 21 is crucial because most school shooters are under 21. We already do this for handguns. And finally, funding mental health in schools. Hire more counselors, train teachers to spot warning signs, create threat assessment teams,
Schools that have implemented these measures have seen dramatic reductions in violence. Some have stopped planned attacks before they happened. It works. We just need the will to do it everywhere. Let me take you back to Oxford one more time. One student described hiding under her desk, watching her teacher get shot, trying to lock the door. Another student played dead in a pool of his classmates' blood. A girl texted her mum, "I love you, there's a shooter. I'm scared I won't see you again." These kids survived, but they'll never be the same. Studies show that survivors of school shootings have rates of PTSD 3 times higher than combat veterans. They struggle with anxiety, depression, survivor's guilt. Some never return to school. But it's not just the survivors, it's every student in America. Today, children as young as 5 years old practice hiding from gunmen. They learn to barricade doors, to stay silent, to run in zigzag patterns to make themselves harder targets. This is what we've normalized. This is the childhood we've given them. Tate Meir, one of the Oxford victims, died trying to disarm the shooter. He was 16 years old, a football star, a kid with his whole life ahead of him. At his funeral, his father said, "We send our kids to school to learn, not to wonder if today is the day they'll die." So here we are, 25 years after Columbine, hundreds of shootings later, thousands of lives lost. And we're still asking the same question. How do we stop this? The truth is, we know how. We've always known how. Every other developed country figured it out. They prioritized children's lives over political ideology. They passed common sense laws. They funded mental health. They made schools safe. And it worked. But America, we've chosen to accept this as the price of freedom. We've decided that dead children are less important than political gridlock. And that's the most disturbing part of this story. Not that it happens, but that we've chosen to let it keep happening. On November 30th, 2021, 4 families went to bed without their children. Tate, Hannah, Madison, Justin. They were somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's best friend. They had dreams, plans, futures. And in just 5 minutes, all of that was taken away. The question isn't, can we stop this?
The question is, how many more children have to die before we do?